Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to get the meeting started. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to ask Fire Chief Harold to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Harold.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I've asked Mr. Arcanti to please lead us in prayer. Councilman.
Most loving God of all creation, may everything we do this evening begin with your inspiration and continue with your saving help. May our work always find its origin in you and through you reach completion. We ask this of you so that your people will always find comfort and protection in your saving hands and the freedom we seek in your gentle mercy. Amen.
Thank you, Councilman. Will the clerk please call the roll?
McMahon. Present. Negachev. Johnson. Present. Trombetta. Calladrino. Perkins. Visconti. Present. Shinice. Present. Esposito. Present. Asadi. Present. Cavo. Present. Riccello. Here. Diggs. Here. Teicholz. I would know. Arcanti. Present. Curran. Here. Knapp. Present. Levy. Present. Riley. Here. Seabury. Here. Stanley. Here.
There being 20 present and 1 absent, please let the record reflect that Mr. Negachev is out of town tonight. With that, we'll open the floor to public speaking. The first 30 minutes of each council meeting are reserved for public speaking. I'd ask any member of the public that wishes to address the council, please do so about an item that is on the agenda tonight, and you must be a resident and or taxpayer of the city of Danbury to address the council. With that, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the council this evening? Any member of the public that, Mrs. Waller. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Waller, 83 Highland Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut. I'd like to address you on several items on the agenda. Number 15, the airport plaza. I am upset by the fact that the person would like to rent at below what they are paying now. Please don't lower this rent. Please also look at the length of time for the lease. 20 years with 5 10-year options. That's 70 years you're tying it up. Terms this long may tie up the property of the airport and even the future of Common Council hands if they want to change things. It just seems like a tremendously long lease. I think it's wrong. Hospital Avenue, I attended the ad hoc committee and I am dead set against the lease license of this property. Cars and kids don't mix. I believe this matter came before you in past years and was turned down. What changed? The school board and neighbors are against it. And probably still are. Were they even notified? I was also amazed to see that the paltry offer of money in rent was lowered even further when the superintendent of schools suggested the donation in the form of a scholarship to the school. So instead of adding the $1,000 to the rent, the doctor subtracted it from the suggested rent, so he came out even, and the city's general fund is the loser. Talking with the superintendent does not constitute getting the approval of the Board of Ed or the people of the city of Danbury. This doctor is in a residential zone. He has a brand new, brightly lighted sign, which is not residential friendly. If the doctor's practice has grown so large, May I respectfully suggest that he move to a different office in a different zone instead of encroaching on school property? Please do not vote in favor of item number 31. Item number 33 is the Ives Center. I am disappointed that instead of costing the taxpayers money, as was mentioned in 2007 when you set up the authority, we are now being asked to buy land. We bought the chairs and equipment for almost $75,000 earlier, and now this. How are we going to fund this purchase? Bonding, fund balance, or through the ticket price? The taxpayers are not an unending supply of money. We can't afford years of this spending spree. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to address the council this evening? Mr. Gucker.
Ken Gucker, 89 Padenham Road. Again, I apologize for my attire. Figured I'd first start off with praise for the council. Praise as to the Rockwood Lane situation. I was happy, as I've said in the past, to see the council work in a bipartisan nature to come up with a fair agreement as to how to handle city-owned property and to preserve open space. I was happy to read in the ad hoc report that the person who was willing to purchase the property has agreed not to, so it will remain, from what I understand, in the city's hold. And I would encourage you to keep these kind of things up. Keep encouraging open space. Take the open space that we have already and make sure that it stays with the city as open space, whether it be a lease, whether it be a sale, save it for future generations. So again, I'm very happy to see where the Rockwood Lane thing has gone, and you all did a congratulations on that. Now to the negative, unfortunately. I am against the Hospital Avenue, which again, now we're dealing with city property and open space. We, I believe, spoke about this a number of months ago, or maybe it's even longer than that, and I believe it was turned down. We have, no matter how small this space would be, we have a heavily wooded area that we want to turn into a parking lot in a school area, which, as Lynn Waller has eloquently noted, kids and cars don't mix. We don't need more of city land being swallowed up by private enterprise. We need to preserve this. The thing that kind of got me on this was if the leasee decides not to go through, or decides to let this fall apart at a later date, it would be turned back into grass. Well, it's wooded area now, so we're going to clear this out. We're going to clear out all this wooded area, put in a parking lot, and if he defaults, turn it into a lawn. That's not the same kind of, I mean, open space isn't always a golf course or a lawn. It is natural environment, trees, etc. You know, and I'm sure we've all heard global warming directly affected by trees, etc. Moisture taken from the air, put into trees, brought back into the air. If this does go through, which I hope it doesn't, I think maybe we should also look into some sort of bond or some sort of contingency fund that the applicant has to put up to ensure that that's turned back into grass or trees or etc. I don't see anything in here that says, you know, if he defaults, he's supposed to bring it back, but where does that money come from? Does he just disappear? Or do we get that money now, put it aside in case this happens, we have that to fall back on? I would rather you not turn this into a parking lot, but at least consider those options. And lastly is item number 33, the Charles Ives. It seems like when it comes down to the Charles Ives area, we get asked to give more money to help them over the hump. You know, $70,000 a couple of years ago in the budget as seed money to help them over the hump, and they won't be back. Last budget, $50,000. This will help them, and they won't come back. Now we're looking at buying property, 1.8 acres of land, to help them over the hump again. This doesn't make sense. I mean, 3 or 4 council meetings ago, we had organizations that were here asking for funding, and they were told, we need to tighten our belt. We don't have the money. We have to make tough choices. But yet here we are again, spending more city money on things that aren't really helping the average taxpayer. It's a tough time. People aren't making it with the high cost of energy, with the high cost of health insurance, rents, taxes, etc. Now we're going to add this burden. And from what I've read in the ad hoc report, I believe it's going to be another bonded issue. How many more bonded issues are we going to have in this city? Last time I was here, we bonded $2.5 million in bond packages. I mean, where does it stop? It's like it's like running away with the credit card. Eventually, this all has to be paid back. It doesn't make sense. I mean, there's also contradictions in here that the property will be considered open space. But then you go farther down, it's also going to be used for leveraging if the state wants to get rid of the land that's next to it because it's a building lot. Well, is it open space or is it a building lot? What are we exactly doing here? I mean, we're entrusting you with our pocketbooks. We're entrusting you with our hard-earned tax dollars, which, as you see, aren't going as far as they used to. And I think this is a bad idea. I think we are maxing out the credit card. We are over our heads. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gucker. Anybody else like to address the council this evening? Mr. Greenberg?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Council.
Steve, just give your name and address for the record.
Steve Greenberg, 11 Wellington Court, Danbury, Connecticut. I'm chairman of the Ives Authority, and the two people speaking, you have very valid points, but I want to tell the history a little bit also. When the new authority was created, the initial funding did not go to the new authority. It went to buy the assets of the old Ives, which has been in existence for the city since 1974. The assets were acquired at about 10 cents on a dollar. Pretty good investment for the city. The land is also owned by the old Ives. It's been negotiated down with the help of David and Mark. Newtown Savings Bank has the note on it, and it will be acquired for approximately $130,000. It also has structures on it. It's a building lot where an appraisal was done on that property 2 years ago. Of course, we're in a declining market, but that appraisal was $190,000. So the Ives today, because of our fiscal management as a new authority with 1 year under our belt, and we just received our first funding from the city July 1, and thank you. We've been running on air, and we put on a great season with Frankie Valli, the Beach Boys, Melissa Etheridge, Lyle Lovett, and other entertainment. We have a family fair day September 21st with the Ives Orchestra, and we just signed up the Connecticut Ballet. About 40 charity organizations and dance groups and churches in your town will participate in that. It's a free day for everybody in the city as a thank you. So there is value given back to the city. Without culture, your property values will diminish. We are going to be profitable this season. I'm going to make a bold statement.
Very bold, Coach.
Because of our fiscal management and reducing our liabilities, we've taken promoters on, we've reduced our costs, we've reduced our advertising, and we are now properly managed, unlike the old Ives Authority or the Ives Center, with due respect to them. So I urge you to consider acquiring the land. It's necessary for our future, it's part of our property, and it does give us leverage. It is a building lot if we ever need to be, but our goal is to grow the Ives into a cultural center for this area. If you've ever been to a concert, which I know many of you have, the traffic for businesses along Mill Plain Road, for the hotels that sponsor us, is tremendous. It's an economic boom to the city. at a very inexpensive price. We also have full intentions as we get on our feet and make more money to accommodate this debt. It will not be a burden for the taxpayers in the long run. Thank you.
Mr. Greenberg, anybody else wish to address the council this evening? Seeing none, then we'll move on with our regularly scheduled meeting this evening. I have several announcements I'd just like to mention. Jane and Leroy Diggs' wedding anniversary was August 2nd. Councilwoman, happy wedding anniversary and many happy returns to you and Leroy. Congratulations. August 5th, wait a minute, is that today? Is Louise and Don McMahon's 40th wedding anniversary. No?
41.
41st. My bad. 31st wedding anniversary. And you're here at the Common Council meeting. God bless you, Councilman. Congratulations. Don, if you're watching, thank you for sharing her with us. August 21st is Dwayne Perkins' birthday. He turns 26. That's awesome. August 28th is Ben Shinisi's birthday as well. Councilman, congratulations. And there are a number of events that we have going on this month. I want to point out a couple very quickly to you before we begin our regular meeting. On August 14th, 15th, and 16th is the Maharajan. Did I say that correct, Mr. Sadi? I finally got it right this year. It's the Lebanese festival. It's a good time over at the St. Anthony's Maronite Church at Granville Avenue. It's great food, great dancing. I encourage you to stop by any of those days and see what the community is doing. And I certainly want to thank the folks at St. Anthony's for running such a wonderful program. August 17th is recognition of India's Independence Day, and we're going to hold a flag-raising ceremony here for India at 11:30 a.m. Again, it's another good event. There's usually some dancing and some other things that go on during this event, so we encourage you to attend that if you can find time. And we also have the Housing Authority has their employee recognition. That'll be at Terrywell Mansion on August the 14th at noon. And that's certainly not all of the events that are happening this month. Please check with Wendy in my office if you want to know what best times to go and any other questions that you might have about those particular events. With that, we're going to move on to the regular part of our meeting. Mr. President, the minutes, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I would like to make a motion that we waive the reading of the minutes as all members have copies, and copies are on file in the city clerk's office.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Perkins. I believe there's one correction to the minutes, Mr. Cabo.
Your Honor, I'd like to just, without objection, on item number 25, 26, 27, and 28, please have the minutes of that public hearing reflect that Mr. Esposito and Mrs. Diggs were present at that meeting. There was a Scribner's error, and I'd like to just have that correction in there if I could.
Okay, without objection, we'll order the clerk to make the adjustment to the minutes as amended. Any other changes, deletions, corrections to the minutes as presented? Seeing none, then I will try your minds in acceptance of the minutes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Majority Leader, the consent calendar, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Consent calendar, August 5th, 2008. Number 2, receive the communication and confirm the appointment of Jack A. Robbins, Ph.D., to serve on the City of Danbury Certified Local Government Advisory Committee. Number 3, receive the communication and confirm the following individual to serve on the City of Danbury Other Post-Employment Benefit Board: Nicholas Sotos, Pamela Evanuska, Andrea J. Gray, Gladys L. Ivanasco, and Roger A. Palazzo. Number 4, excuse me, to receive the communication and accept the donation of $679 and transfer this donation to line item 6000.03, Dress for Success donations in the HLTHDON account, and send the appropriate letters of thanks. Number 5, receive the communication and accept the donation of $50 from Ed and Sharon Mikowski and present to purchase supplies needed for the Danbury Animal Pound and send the appropriate letters of thanks. Number 6, receive the communication, accept the donation of 4 Japanese maple trees valued at $300 from the Danbury Adult Ed Office and send the appropriate letter of thanks. Number 7, receive the communication, accept the donations for performances by the Cellmates from Almost Home, $50, the Gardens, $25, the Homesteads, $25, the Laurel Ridge, $125, and send the appropriate letters of thanks. Number 9, receive the communication and approve the reappropriation of $123,432.26 to the water fund accounts and $472,765.18 to the sewer fund accounts. Number 10, receive the communication and approve the reappropriation of $26,000 to the ambulance account 50000.5330. Number 12, receive the communication to transfer $18,705 into the appropriate line items from the city's contingency account for the August 12, 2008 primary. Number 18, receive the communication to adopt the resolution to authorize Mayor Mark D. Boughton or David Day to enter into and sign contracts with the State of Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection for the nitrogen removal project. And number 19, receive the communication to adopt the resolution to authorize Mayor Mark D. Boughton to apply for and accept funding from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Community Development Block Grant. Number 20, receive the communication to adopt the resolution to authorize the City of Danbury Town Clerk to apply for and accept funding from the State of Connecticut Office of Public Records Administrator through the Connecticut State Library for the preservation of documents. 21, receive the communication to adopt the resolution to authorize Mayor Mark D. Boughton or Paul D. Estefan to apply for and accept funding from the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Number 22, receive the communication to adopt the resolution to authorize Mayor Mark D. Boughton or Scott Leroy to apply for and accept the Recreational Trails Grant from the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection. 24, receive the report and approve the request for water extension at 2022 Old Ridgeberry Road, subject to the compliance with the City Engineering Department and standard conditions for the required 8 steps. 25, receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee. 26, receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee. 27, receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee. 28, receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee. And 30, receive the report and approve the recommendations of the committee. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Calvo?
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent calendar as presented.
Motion made, seconded by Councilman Sadi. Any discussion related to the consent calendar? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, item 1, please.
Communication, promotions to the Fire Department. Dear Common Council members, I am pleased to submit for your confirmation the appointment of firefighter Heather Anderson to the position of Lieutenant of the Danbury Fire Department. Heather was appointed to the Danbury Fire Department October 4th, 99. She came to Danbury with experience as a volunteer firefighter and EMT. Heather holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from UConn, as well as an associate's degree in fire technology and administration, for which she received the DFD Educational Award. She has been active in the Danbury community as a volunteer at the babysitters class to teach rescue breathing, creating Spanish/English translations to be used at emergency scenes by the fire department, and creating a study guide of Danbury streets for new drivers. Heather has received numerous awards and commendations. Heather is also a certified Fire Officer 1 and fire instructor. Heather resides in Naugatuck with her husband Bob and her 2 sons, Sean and Danny.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilwoman Stanley?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment of firefighter Heather Anderson to Lieutenant of the Danbury Fire Department.
Motion made and seconded by Councilman Cavo, any discussion about firefighter Anderson's appointment to lieutenant? Seeing none then, all in favor of the appointment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Heather, congratulations. I know that I speak on behalf of the entire council and your brothers and sisters behind you in the fire service, and we thank you for your dedication. We congratulate you on your appointment. All of us look forward to working together with you as you continue up the career ladder, and this is a real testament to your strength and your fortitude and your vision at reaching this milestone. So God bless you, and thank you for your family. I don't know if you have anybody here you want to introduce and embarrass, but...
My husband Bob and my son is my older son is my younger son out in the
Got it. Well, Bob, thank you, and again, congratulations, and God bless you. Keep up the good work. Okay, Madam Clerk.
I am also pleased to submit for your confirmation the appointment of firefighter Jordan Leach to the position of fire inspector / deputy fire marshal. Jordan was appointed to the Danbury Fire Department on January 9, 1996 as a firefighter. On December 21st of 2007, Jordan was appointed to the position of provisional fire inspector. He has a bachelor's degree in justice and law administration and is studying for his associate's degree in fire technology and administration at Naugatuck Valley Community College. Jordan has received numerous awards and commendations. Jordan is also a certified Fire Officer 1, Fire Service Instructor, Juvenile Fire Setter Intervention Specialist, and Connecticut Certified Fire Investigator. Jordan currently resides in Plymouth, Connecticut with his wife, Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. It gives me pleasure to make the motion to confirm the appointment of firefighter Jordan Leach to the position of fire inspector / deputy fire marshal in the Danbury Fire Department.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Councilwoman McMahon. Any discussion about Jordan Leach's promotion to deputy fire marshal? Seeing none then, I'll try your minds on the appointment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Jordan, congratulations. I have to tell you, we had three really super qualified candidates in the positions of deputy fire marshal. Jordan came in, did a great job in the interview. He's been doing a good job for us on a provisional basis, and this just affirms the good work he's doing. So on behalf of the entire Common Council and the City of Danbury, we congratulate you, Jordan. Look forward to working with you here in City Hall, and keep up the good work. Do you have any family here with you or anything like that? Okay. Good job, and keep up the good work. Congratulations. Met family besides the family that you're standing with back there. So, Madam Clerk?
I'm also pleased to submit for your confirmation the appointment of firefighter John Osborne to the position of fire inspector / deputy fire marshal. John was appointed to the Danbury Fire Department on July 26th of 93. John is well known in the fire department for his helpful attitude and actions. He was instrumental in completing the new kitchen area at Engine 24 with his plumbing skills. He has received numerous awards and commendations for jobs well done. John is an EMT 1, as well as a certified fire service instructor and emergency medical services instructor. John resides in New Milford with his wife, Dawn. He has grown children, Karen, Ellen, Glenn, and one grandson, Trevor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Visconti?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to confirm the appointment of firefighter John Osborne to the position of fire inspector, deputy fire marshal.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Councilman Chianese. Any discussion about Mr. Osborne's appointment? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All is in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Osborne, congratulations. Once again, on behalf of the council and your brothers and sisters behind you, I know how much you can enjoy working up here on the Hill. and we want to congratulate you and welcome you to this new position. We know you're going to do a great job. Don't know if you have any family with you, if you want to introduce them.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bear. I have my wife Dawn, and my daughter Karen, and her friend Joe, and my sister Lisa.
Welcome, and thank you for saying that. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
I am also pleased to submit for your confirmation the appointment of firefighter James Russell to the position of Fire Inspector / Deputy Fire Marshal. Jim was appointed to the Danbury Fire Department on July 9th of '01. He quickly became known for his cheerful demeanor and good communication skills. Jim is always ready to lend a helping hand to anyone in need. Jim earned an associate's degree in business from Post College. He is working toward a degree in fire technology and administration from Naugatuck Valley Community College. He is a certified fire service instructor and fire officer as well as an EMT. Jim currently resides in New Milford with his wife, Kathy, and his sons, JJ and Sean.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Curran.
It gives me great pleasure to make the motion to promote firefighter Jim Russell to Fire Inspector, Deputy Fire Marshal. Jim's been a great asset in the fire department for all the time he's been there, and he's going to be a great asset in a great fire marshal's office in the Danbury Fire Department. Congratulations.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Boy, that was tough. I got to give it to Mr. Riley. He was a little quicker on the draw, Mr. Arcani. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion about the appointment? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All's in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Jim, congratulations.
Yeah, right.
On behalf of the Common Council, City of Danbury, all the folks behind you and the Danbury Fire Department, Chief Harold, we wish you the best of luck in your new position. Look forward to working with you here up at City Hall, and thank you for your service so far. I know you got some family members. Maybe you can introduce them to us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have with me my wife Kathy, my son Sean, my other son cannot be here tonight, JJ. Sorry about that. And this is Sean's girlfriend, Casey.
Oh, thank you for being here. Congratulations. Once again, Chief Harold, thank you. Ginny Alaska-Warner, who's not here tonight, Director of Personnel, I want to thank her as well. And I thank all of our appointees and wish you the best in your next step in your career ladder. And thanks to the Fire Department for being out here tonight. It means a lot for the folks that are getting promoted. So keep up the good work, folks. Madam Clerk, items 2 through 7 were consent. Item 8. Yes?
Thank you for consideration of these appointments. Sincerely, Mark D. Fountain,
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you, Madam Clerk. We're moving on. Madam Clerk, item 8, please.
Communication, request for ad hoc investment policy.
What's your pleasure, Council? Mr. Calandrino.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to an ad hoc committee to consist of a representative from the Mayor's Office, the Director of Finance, and the City Treasurer.
Ad hoc committee shall, and the City Treasurer, we have that down too? Good. Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following. Since Mr. Calandrino made the motion, he can chair the ad hoc committee. Mr. Trombetta can join him, and we're going to let Mr. Chianese join him as well. Items 9 and 10 were consent. Madam Clerk, item 11, please.
Communication, removal of private debris, Code of Ordinances, Section 17-7.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilwoman McMahon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to an ad hoc committee with Corporation Counsel and the Director of Public Works.
Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following. Councilman Arcanti, Councilwoman McMahon, and Councilman Visconti. Item 12 was consent. Item 13, please.
Communication, request for parking, two-wheel vehicles.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilwoman Teicholz.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to the Parking Authority.
Sorry. I would like to refer this to the Parking Authority and the Director of Public Works for reports.
Seeing no objection, it is so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 14, please.
Communication, request for ad hoc property tax abatement.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Trombetta?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to receive the communication and request an ad hoc committee consisting of the Director of Finance, the Conservation Commission, the Corporation Council, and Tax Assessor Office.
Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following: Councilwoman McMahon, Councilman Curran, and Councilman Rotello. Madam Clerk, item 15, please.
Communication, proposal to renew parking leases.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Curran.
I'd like to refer this to an ad hoc committee to include the Airport Administrator, Corporation Council, Director of Planning, and the Planning Committee for a report.
Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following: Councilman Knapp, Councilwoman Teicholz, and Councilman Rotello. Madam Clerk, item 16, please.
Communication, request for sewer, 28 Tamarack Road.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Cavill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to the city engineer and the planning commission for reports.
Seeing no objection, is so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 17, please.
Communication, request for sewer, 30 Tamarack Road.
What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Cavill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to the city engineer and the planning commission for reports as well.
Seeing no objection, is so ordered. Items 18 through 22 are consent. Madam Clerk, item 23, please.
Report, fire department statement of condition and property.
Mr. Cavill.
Your Honor, without objection, I'd like to waive the reading of this report.
Is there any objection to waiving the reading of the report? Mr. Johnson objects to waiving the reading, or is he kidding? Any objection to waiving the reading of the report? Okay, we'll see no objection. We can order the report to be waived, the reading of the report waived without a vote unless there's an objection. So reading of the report will be waived. What's your pleasure, Council? Mr. Cavill?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion that we receive the report, and that would be just it, just receive the report from the fire chief.
Motion is made to receive the report from the fire chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sadi, and now discussion. Discussion under the chief's report. Mr. Levy?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to thank the chief for a real comprehensive report and pointing out some of the needs within the fire department itself. I was particularly concerned through the chair to the chief, perhaps it could expand on the communication seemed to be a major issue, and on how that's going to be resolved. And it always seems to be a problem in the emergency service, and I recognize that some of that is going to take place with the new PD, but I'm worried about the interim period, and perhaps you can tell us what's happening.
Chief?
Yes, on the statement of condition, it's a report that gives a general statement of the situation as it exists, both mechanically and fiscally. The mayor and I have met with Chief Baker discussing the issues and surrounding the pending move to the new police station. The radio systems that we're currently using, and I'm going to address specifically the fire department in my statement, a lot of the actual hardware is no longer supportable. The manufacturers have not made most of these parts since the mid-90s. And up until now, it's been kit bashed. You know, we find spare parts that have been taken apart and making it run. They gave me a pretty dire warning that, you know, if we were to try to move this, it might not start up again. When I took over a little over a year and a half ago, we knew this was going on, and the mayor was aware of it then, and we've been working with the necessary people to try to get parts and pieces that will continue having it run. Last Thanksgiving, we had a problem, as it was mentioned in the statement. Right now, we're in the process of finding a new module that will carry us through, certainly for the foreseeable future. Its expense is varying somewhere between $15,000 or $20,000, and that money is available in our regular maintenance budgets and stuff, and that will get us through the immediate future. The big problem is that our radio system is really a three-part system. We have our standard communication system, we have our two-way low band, high band, and the technical issues are not significant. But the big thing here, and the one we're talking about right now, is that system which helps us get the volunteers pagers to get the volunteers notified. And that, of course, is a very crucial part of our operations. As a combination department, we have to be able to communicate with them. So what we're doing now is working on a system that will keep that up and running. And this is as a result of the Macro Radio project. Their project was out there, and they're giving us a report soon on how to go about fixing this radio system. When that comes in, we'll have a much better idea on what we need to do. It has not happened in a vacuum, and we've been all working with other agencies, the mayor, myself, the police department, public works, to keep this. So we will keep it running. Statement of condition was just that. Some of these things are in pretty bad shape. They're old. They were given to us. Some of them were used when we got them. So without belaboring the point, this is a situation that is under control. We're going to continue to make it work, and we'll fix it as we go along. But by virtue of the city ordinance, I had to put down what we're really dealing with, and that is where that comes from.
Further
If I
questions,
may,
Mr. Lee?
Your Honor. Thank you, Chief. I noticed in your report you highlighted it in such a way that the severity of it all, and I appreciate what you do in your report. On more of a minor basis, I see there's a comment about the driveway on Engine 24. It seems somewhat minor in nature, and I was just wondering, perhaps you can give us an idea on that. I know that probably won't be a capital expenditure type of thing, but...
Well, no, but once again, my statement of condition is to report on the condition, both the physical properties as well. And the driveway over there, remember, Engine 24 at Commerce Park was all built on swampland. It was all backfilled with stones, and it's now becoming 35 years old or so. The substrate of the parking lot is beginning to give way. We had a small washout last year, and we've patched it. It's now at the point where it has to be repaired. It's probably going to have to be totally dug up, regraded, and redone right from scratch. And that, once again, is just a physical statement of condition. That's why it's in the report.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm pretty well through, and I like the report, and I like the fact that the council can anticipate these items will come back and will be costs that we can anticipate.
That's why they're in the report.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. Any further discussions? Mr. Visconti.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through the chair, if I may, the chief. I, too, Chief, was very impressed with the report. Time goes on, and we need to make improvements, obviously, and that's what this is all about. We will be moving into the new police station. Will the radio operations that we have now, coinciding with the police department, be able to be put in there, or are we going to be leaving them where they are for the time being with what we have?
Yes and no. The radios will eventually wind up over there. As the police department takes over that building, they'll be doing a timed entry into the building where certain divisions will move over. It'll be over a several weeks or months period. And even after they're in there, we will not be moving the 911 or the radio system there immediately. It'll happen over a schedule of time depending on acquisition of new equipment, acquisition of the 911 consoles. These are all both, time sensitive in that we have to get the ordering in, get the scheduling done. OSET, the statewide emergency telecommunications network, will be part of that, setting up the new 911 system. And then the radios, some of them will move. Police department, of course, will move theirs first. They'll be in, they'll establish the system, get it up and running, and then we'll be integrating the systems at a later date. At this time, there is no date or specific calendar designed for that. Once again, we've been in contact with the mayor, and the police chief and I are working on that, and that's going to be an ongoing project. Right now, we anticipate it happening sometime later into the fall of next year, in 2009, before we're even close to being done. And right, as I said, there's no specific time frame for that at this time.
Follow up, if I may. Please. We noticed in the report, too, that there's quite a bit of a problem in fire headquarters on New Street. I know we were looking at the property next door. I don't know where we are with that right now, but with that, if we were able to purchase that property at the right price, what would be your thoughts about doing something there?
Wow, that'd be like Christmas. If anybody is driven by the firehouse, you see a lot of equipment, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment that are parked outside. Fire department, our needs and therefore our capabilities have grown The city has seen to it that we've gotten the parts and pieces we need to do the job. However, we're short garage space, probably 10 bays maybe. We have equipment stored at the airport. We have equipment stored outside at headquarters. We have equipment filling up the bays at the outstations, a number of trailers. To buy that property next door, if that property were to become available, or another piece someplace, every time I come out of my office, I look at the old Van Houten property and I'd like to get a hold of that. The reality of it is we do need physical space. We have outgrown our situation. If that property next door to us was bought, we would create a maintenance facility. We would be able to use it for storage and put some of these other units inside. It would be a boon to the department in just unimaginable ways. It would create a situation where all that stuff could be out of the weather, protected, and it is many hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars invested, that we would be protecting.
One more, if I may, Your Honor.
Sure, Mr. Visconti.
Through the chair. The chief and I and several members of the volunteer council have been meeting for the last year or so in regards to doing something with engine 5 and engine 6, and now we're looking also at engine 7. Where do we stand with that right now?
That statement in there regarding the potential construction of a firehouse and consolidating the 3 units into a single firehouse, it's a statistical, logistical idea that once we get rid of the 3 separate firehouses, which are both they're becoming untenable. They're hard to maintain, they're expensive to maintain, and they're not suitable for the fire trucks that are in them. I just talked to Engine 7 tonight, and they bought a fire truck. They're in the process of receiving a new fire truck in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and they had to buy the truck that would fit into the bay rather than a truck that was best suited for their mission. And in a day, it's just not suitable to do that. We should buy the equipment that we need that is best suited to the mission to which it will be applied. So what my proposal is that we create a South Battalion of volunteers, if you will. The individual companies would all retain their identities. They are not being merged. There would still be Squad 6, Squad 7, and Worcester Hose. It's not to merge them, but to get them into a single facility. Single facility reduces overall maintenance costs. It would give us a situation where we can have a training and classroom facility that could accommodate multiple companies at one time. The logistics behind putting all 3 in one unit, it allows for cross-training on the units, makes easier to get runs, get units out on the road on a run. If Engine 5 needs 3 people and they only have 2, and somebody from Squad 7 was trained on Engine 5, they could hop in and get that vehicle on the road. Right now, that companies are already doing that, only instead of doing it out of one house, they're going to different houses. 13s is coming to 12s, 12s is going to 13s. Other companies are helping each other out. That's what volunteers do. They help each other out. Putting them into a single facility that would reduce maintenance costs, give us a new energy efficient place to keep them, once again, would just create a situation that makes it both easier and logistically less expensive to run.
Chief, other questions for Chief? Mr. Riley? Then Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the chair to Chief. Also, I would like to, Chief, thank you for a very succinct report. It's always very helpful to all of us to see what is going on and anticipate some of the issues. One of the things that I noted was that you state that the volunteers at this time that are very important to the operation of the complete fire, investigation, whatever it might be, is very important. And you also said that right now it seems to be pretty adequate. What are some of the things that you do? I know that you must be doing something in terms of trying to bring more people in on a voluntary basis to help out.
That's a good point. Putting the 3 engines in one facility, the 3 units in one facility, would also, in our view, facilitate recruitment. First of all, the house becomes more active, and that's simply a case of geography. Certain volunteer houses are less active than others. You take a look in your monthly report, the statistics are there about which engines are being called out, which units are being called out. So if it's as busy a firehouse, I would hope, and our hope is that it would increase recruitment and retention by getting the people interested in having more to do. Certainly with 3 different fire trucks in there, there's definitely more to do. One thing I'd like to point out, traditionally it used to be that fire trucks were very geographically oriented. They had a response area, and that was their primary response area. However, squads 6 and 7 no longer have a geographic area. Every time they go out, or basically every time we have a fire, one of those companies is going out, sometimes both. They go all over the city. So the geographical location of their firehouses is no longer a big sticking point, because Engine 7 will go to Ann Hack for a fire. Squad 6 will come across and go to Nabby Road for a fire, depending on who's on call, who's available. Because of the nature of their apparatus, they do more than simply go and put water on the fire. They're vital to the operation of the career department, because they come in, they're a salvage company, they have air for our air bottles, they help us with lighting, they help us with power generation, so they go everywhere. So they're no longer geographically restricted. So it doesn't matter where we put them, they're going to be busy, they're going out. And that's another point of this. So wherever we end up putting them, they're still going to maintain their response. I'm not to address your question, or okay.
Thanks, Chief. Mr. Cava, then Mr. Sadi.
Your Honor, I'd like to also thank the Chief for his detailed report, especially the fleet inventory and condition, which is very well done in the report, Chief. What I'd like to do,
by the way, Jimmy says you made him work 3 days for that.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to give you the opportunity to brief my colleagues on the findings at Engine 24's structure. I know that in the report, this was prior to work that was done over there in conjunction with Antonio Idarola, Director of Public Works, and city engineers, and I'd just like to give you the opportunity to update everybody on the findings of that while you're up here tonight.
Very well. Engine 24, as you know, as I spoke of earlier, was built by the Seymour Powers Company back in the early 70s, and it was donated to the city, along with a fire truck, I might add. And the firehouse there is now approaching 40 years old, and there's been some settling of the property. However, we did an engineering study that we had to dig out a footing for, and I'd like to thank both Duke Hart and Antonio for allowing us to do that. The city provided the labor and the machinery to do that, saving the fire department a ton of money, for which I am very thankful. The engineer came in and has done a report. I have not got the final report. However, the preliminary report is that the building itself is not structurally unsound. The wall that seems to have separated from the steel frame structure was simply a facade wall that has separated from the bearing wall. Bearing wall is not moved, footing has not moved, the building has not moved. This is settling that's due to the surface area of the ground. The wall will be repaired. When I get the final report, we'll find out just what it's going to cost to put it back together. But the fact that the building's not structurally unsound is huge. It's going to be, whatever the cost is, now it's going to be far less than we were fearing. So that's all a good thing. Engine 24 the final report should be in 2 to 3 weeks. When I get that, I'll report next month. I'll put it in my monthly report and let you all know what that was.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Sadi.
Thank you, Your Honor. More of a comment than a statement. With regard to the potential consolidation as we go down the road here, as a representative of the 4th Ward, and some of the firehouses considered for consolidation, Worcester, Waterwich, and Citizens, which serve the lower 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th Wards. What I just want to make sure is that there is some geographic integrity to the location of potential land where a consolidated department might be built. And I know that's been stated out in the media, but I want to have that on the record. And I know that these departments serve not just geographic areas, but across the whole city, as the Chief said. But there is another consequence, is insurance premiums are affected by your location to firehouses. So, and neighborhood firehouses do add some integrity to the neighborhood. They serve as a central rallying point. So just to keep that in mind, Chief, as we move along. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. But you're right. The firehouse, we are looking to somehow put that on the south end of town to keep that geographic area generally, in mind there. And Councilman Visconti and I, we've looked at a number of pieces of property, all on the historic south end of that area of town. And it definitely, we're not going to move it out of that general area. It'll be, on the south end, for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Sadi. Thank you, Chief. Any other discussions about the statement of conditions? Chief, anything else that you'd like to buy tonight that we can fund for you?
I have a list in my pocket.
I'm sure you do. But I publicly want to thank you for your thoroughness on the report and for doing just a terrific job in your tenure so far as Chief. It's been a pleasure working with you. And We'll knock these issues out one by one, as we always do as a community, and we'll get them done. Thanks, Chief. With that, we have a motion on the floor to accept the report. It's been seconded. All those in favor of acceptance of the report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Item 24 through 28 were on consent. Madam Clerk, item 29, please.
Ad hoc report and ordinance, awarding of contract, Code of Ordinances, Section 2-152.
Okay, Mr. O'Connor, excuse me, Mr. Cavo, want to read the report?
Ad hoc report, Code of Ordinance, Section 2-152, awarding of contracts. Honorable Mark D. Boughton, Mayor, Common Council members, Chairman Joe Cavo called the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. In attendance were Councilman Arcanti, Laszlo Pinter, Deputy Corporation Counsel Charles Volpe, Purchasing Agent, David St. Hilaire, Director of Finance, and ex officio members Councilwoman Stanley and Councilman Trombetta, and members of the public. Councilman Sadi was detained in traffic. Councilman Seabury entered the meeting at 5:40 p.m. Attorney Pinter provided background information on the origin of the request to change the ordinance to allow vendors who may have outstanding obligations to the city to participate in the bidding process should a bid be awarded to a vendor owing a debt to the city. The funds would then be applied towards the delinquency, and administrative watch would be required to ensure adherence to the program. Mr. St. Hilaire spoke in favor of the proposal, stating that there are many different receivables which may need to be paid. The city will have the opportunity to make awards to the lowest bidder and collect outstanding debts from the vendors. Discussion followed regarding bonds, protections and defaults, and binding successors. Councilman Arcani moved to recommend adding subsection E. Councilman Cavo seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Councilman Arcani moved to adjourn at 5:45 p.m., seconded by Councilman Cavo. Motion passed unanimously. Respectfully submitted, Joseph Cavo, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Cavo. What's your pleasure, Council? Mr. Sadi?
I'd like to refer this matter to a public hearing and committee of the whole.
Motion made, referred to a public hearing. See if no objection, it's so ordered. We'll have more debate and discussion about this, I'm sure, at the Committee of the Whole. Madam Clerk, item 30 was on consent. Item 31, please. No, not 31. Mr. Calandrino, item 31, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to receive the report from the Ad hoc Committee and approve the license agreement as recommended.
I think we got to read the report first, Mr. Calandrino, but having said that, we'll ask Mr. Knapp, as chairman of the committee, to read the report. We'll get right back to you, Mr. Calandrino.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ad hoc report, lease 84 Hospital Avenue, July 8, 2008. Chairman Jack Knapp called the meeting to order at 7:15 p.m. In attendance was committee member Greg Seabury. Committee member Fred Visconti was unable to attend. Also in attendance was Les Pinter, Deputy Corporation Counsel, Antonio Idarola, Director of Public Works, ex officio member Mary Teicholz, Paul Jaber, attorney, Dr. Anton Fry, applicant, and members of the public. Mr. Knapp stated the charge of the committee was to consider a request to lease land located at 84 Hospital Avenue. Mr. Knapp said the report from the planning department was negative and asked Mr. Pinter to explain. Mr. Pinter said that the requirement of state law is to provide a report. The council would have to override a negative planning commission recommendation by 2/3 vote. Mr. Seabury said that he didn't ever remember going against the planning commission recommendation. Mr. Idarola said that the property abuts the Broadview Middle School property. The heavily wooded property is 18 feet by 150 feet and would have a fence that could be mutually accessible. Public Works had no negative referral but would like Traffic and Public Works to review it. Mr. Knapp asked about the lease term. Mr. Pinter said the initial lease term is 3 years and yearly after that. The rent is $2,500 plus a $1,000 scholarship. The superintendent of schools has no objection to the proposal. Mr. Javer said that the property meets zoning regulations without the additional property, but that Dr. Fry's practice has grown tremendously and could use the extra parking. Mr. Seabury moved to recommend to the council to approve the license agreement with active input from the Director of Public Works and the traffic engineer. Mr. Knapp seconded the motion. The motion passed unanimously.
Mr. Seabury moved to adjourn the meeting at 7:35, second by Mr. Knapp. The motion passed unanimous. Respectively submitted. Jack Knapp, Chairman.
Mr. Knapp, Mr. Calandrino, would you like to try your motion again?
Once again, Your Honor,
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to receive the report from the ad hoc committee and to approve the license agreement as recommended.
It's been made and seconded by Mr. Cavo. Discussion under this item. Mr. Asadi.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't believe that this council should be changing abutting land to conform to the needs of a business that has a significant presence in the neighborhood, whose zoning for its current number of parking places complies with what it was approved for, as noted by the attorney in the record here. That sort of planning and zoning by legislative act of the council to increase parking, I have a problem with that, especially since when this was approved initially and the way the parking was set up was, I would imagine, conformed with the traffic requirements at the time, and if it's pre-existing non-conforming, we also should not be expanding it. So either way, I don't believe we should. If a business is successful and it needs more parking, it needs more space, then maybe it should move to another location or deal with its success where it's located. I just don't feel that based on the history of this project as well as what it would impact, taking school property, taking down these trees to benefit a private business is not in the best interest of the council or the neighborhood. Be voting against this. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Asadi. Any further discussion? Mr. Rotella.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through the chair to the Director of Public Works.
Mr. Iadarola. Feeling very purpley tonight, I might add again. Like that tie?
I think it's a great tie.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Rotella.
Okay, before we...
I think it's blue.
It's kind of blue.
Oh, you're done.
Magenta.
We're going to have a long talk in the morning. Go ahead, Mr. Rotella.
I have a map here, Mr. Iadarola, and before we start chipping away at the property that abuts the petitioner, which is the junior high school, I went up to the site, took a look at it, brought a measuring tape with me, and we basically got an entrance to the doctor's office off of Hospital Avenue, 84 Hospital Avenue, and as you drive in, on the right-hand side are at present 12 spaces. Beyond that, and I sympathize with the doctor, are woods, and he probably looks at those woods covetously every day thinking, boy, if my parking lot was just a little bit bigger, my problems would be solved. Okay. And basically, I think, according to the map that I was given by Corporation Counsel, what he essentially wants to do is extend that parking lot 18 feet towards the school entrance, and he will then move, if you will, those 12 parking spaces west, and that will give him enough room on the opposite side to add 8 more parking spaces. According to this map, and my count may be off by 1 or 2, his 12 spaces on the right will become 11, so he's actually going to lose 1 in the move. He'll pick up 8 for a net gain of 7. So really what we're talking about here is, in spite of the fact he'll be leasing 8 parking spaces from the city, his net gain after all of this will be 7 spots. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's, I believe, what the map shows.
Okay. Now, there's a couple of mature trees on the property. There's a maple. It probably has a circumference of 70 to 80 inches. It's got to be at least 50 years old. That's within the 18-foot line. That has to come down. There's a couple of smaller maples. They have to come down. There's quite a few that won't have to come down, but clearly those trees, I don't know how old if Mark Miller was here, he'd probably tell me, I don't know how old a 6-foot maple is, but it's got to be, 40, 50, 60 years old. If this doesn't work out, if he moves, if his business really takes off and he's got to wind up down the street where all the other facilities are, and we reclaim that land, assuming that we don't use that building for something else, we can't replace those trees. I mean, that's a given. So it's just going to get reseeded. It seems to me that there's an awful lot of terraforming, if you will, going on to pick up 7 spaces. I mean, he's taking 18 feet, he's carving into the woods, he's taking down mature trees,
really, the license agreement says 11 spaces, and indeed, he will be leasing 11 spaces from us, but his net gain is only 7.
I think 11 spaces will occupy the property that we're actually leasing to him. So
Right.
although there's a net gain of 7,
He's not
11
losing,
will
right.
actually occupy the leased property
Exactly.
that we would be gone.
12 there now he has to give up because that's going to be the new drive row.
Correct.
And the 11 will be to the right of that. So it's really the 7 on the left or the 8 that he'll be picking up. You know, I did a little math on this and I looked at the price, $3,500 including the help me out here, the scholarship, comes out to be somewhere in the vicinity of about $300 a month. And that means he'll be paying, I think on my computer calculator, something like $26.51 per month per space. And I think the city right now rents out outdoor parking spaces for $35. That seems a little below market to me. Just look at the finances of this particular deal. Regardless of where that 1,000 goes, it's costing him about $26.50 per parking space. Not for the 7, but for the 11 that he'll be renting. That seemed a little off, but I have to tell you, for everything that's going on here, I would at the very least like to send this back to the Board of Education and have them take a look at it. There's a precedent here. Park Avenue School on Pleasant Street was built long after those houses went in, and none of those houses can expand their property now. They can't make a deal with an adjacent neighbor, and believe me, those 50-foot wide lots are, some of those people are starving for more room. They would love to take a little bit of that unused edge field at Park Avenue for a swimming pool or a swing set or whatever. I don't know if we want to go down that road. So I think that if we're going to take a look at it, we should at least notify the neighbors, send it to public. I know that's not your purview, but I'm just thinking out loud here, and at least give it back to the Board of Education to sign off on, if indeed they do. Thank you very much for your time.
If I could just interject and ask Mr. Pinter, I believe under the statute, if there were to be adopted by the council, there has to be a public hearing under the acquisition of lands. Would this fall under the statute, even though it's a lease? No?
The statute applies for open space for sale or lease. So yes.
I never read the final version of the bill. I saw some of the alliterations early on where it talked about leases and any public property, so. Right, okay. The sale or transfer. Right, Mr. Sadi? Okay. Okay, let's move on then. Any other discussion about Mr. Knapp?
Thank you, Your Honor. Having chaired this ad hoc, I have a little bit of insight to exactly what the applicant is looking for, and understanding that it is 11 spaces that we will own and it will only be 7 of a net gain. The concern, or the thing that jumped out at me during the course of the ad hoc meeting was the fact of traffic. I know it was mentioned earlier by some of the public. And the traffic that he incurs now is by the size of the building, his success of his business, and God bless him, he's got a successful business going. But it's the hustle bustle in and out of the parking lot. It's the cars that get jammed up, not only waiting to try to find a parking place, but coming in and coming out. So that was the key thing in my mind when proposing and voting positively on this at the ad hoc, and why I'll be voting. One of the main reasons I'm voting positive for it tonight is I'm not a traffic engineer, although I did have 6 years on the zoning commission, so I've heard enough from traffic engineers to last me a lifetime. I think that it would, if anything, ease the traffic scenario that they're living with and working with now. As far as the trees getting taken down and what's being proposed, I know that the fence that we talked about that Mr. Idarola had brought to us there was going to be a gate, per chance that there was a big event at Caplanis Field, and there was additional parking needed, that would be available to us, although that's not part of what's in our agreement. That is something that we did discuss and try to move forward with that evening. So I'll be voting for it in a positive way this evening, and just wanted to make those statements and clarify for everybody exactly what did happen as far as those events went. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Further discussion about this issue? Mr. Sadi, second time?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to point out that there have been requests before this council in the past from businesses on South Street and across this city to either lease or buy city land specifically to expand their parking places, their parking lots. And as far as I remember on this council, most if not all of them have been either denied, tabled, or withdrawn for some reason or another. I think that getting into this precedent is dangerous without it being through a land use determination, unless we want to surplus the land based on a lack of need of it or isolation of that property like we've discussed here, and deal with it that way. That's my final comment. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Sadi. Mr. Visconti.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to reaffirm what Councilman Sadi just said, there's also a recommendation from the Planning Commission which is a negative recommendation. So, again, I think if Dr. Fry took perhaps a better look at the property before he even built the office building, then maybe we wouldn't have this problem sitting before us tonight. I will be voting against this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Visconti. Further discussion. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. I get a little concerned when I see folks who work so hard to manipulate a piece of good state legislation, basically for the good of an individual, even though it goes against a planning report. Seems a little much. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Shinisi.
Thank you, Your Honor. To Corporation Counsel. It's stated in the report that a negative recommendation from the Planning Commission was given, and a two-thirds vote is required from this council to override this. Does that still apply?
Yes.
Still does.
It applies because this first came in as a lease, actually. The Planning Commission received it as a lease. They acted on it. It's called a license, but I termed it, I think the council needs to give credence and respect to the Planning Commission action on this. Although it's called a license, the earmarks are a lease. So the Planning Commission, in my opinion, properly made its recommendation, and if you override that, you need the two-thirds vote in this case.
Follow up, Your Honor? When did it become or why did it become a license agreement instead of staying as a lease, which would require a public hearing?
Well, I think the license was drafted by counsel for the petitioner in an effort to try to... A license is a simpler document. It's easier to abrogate by both sides, shorter term generally. It's not recorded on the land records. Typically, you don't need Planning Commission approval for a straight license. And I think that for ease of consideration, that's what they submitted when we got to the early negotiations.
Okay, follow through here. So going back, so 14 votes will be needed this evening to overturn this?
14 votes.
Let me just clarify one thing. The reason that this was listed as a license was not to circumvent a state statute. That was the request of the applicant because of the provisions in the agreement to back out of it if it didn't work out or if the city wanted to end it. Within literally, I think, a 30 or 60-day notice. I haven't read it in a while. But I just want to be clear that that's, and Mr. Pinner, you might want to just address that.
I didn't mean to suggest in any way that the license was submitted to circumvent anything. There is a 90-day cancellation provision in the agreement. As I say, I think the submission was simply for ease of consideration, a simpler format. Typically, that's why people offer licenses.
I might suggest that if the council's wrestling with us a little bit tonight, we certainly can recommit this and address some of the issues that have been raised. I mean, it certainly would be a way of doing that, or we can simply vote. But I just want to make that recommendation. I got Mr. Trombetta, then Mr. Levy. Mr. Trombetta.
Thank you, Your Honor. Although I'm ecstatic that a business is doing well in the city of Danbury, and Dr. Fry has a great practice, there are many businesses that are really struggling because of parking. I can't see, where someone mentioned precedents, I think if we allowed this parking to a positive recommendation to approve the parking, yet we receive a negative from planning, that to me is a precedent in the wrong direction. So I tonight will be voting no.
Thank you, Mr. Trombetta. Mr. Visconti?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to move the question.
It's been made to move the question. It's been seconded. Because we don't want to recommit tonight. Just a thought. Seconded by Mr. Sadi. The motion to move the question is not debatable, and at this time we'll try your minds on moving the question, which means if you vote yes, you're voting that you want to end debate and vote on the main motion. If you vote no, it means you don't want to end debate and you want to consider the discussion, continue the discussion, or potentially consider any other motions. So with that, I'm going to have the clerk just call the roll, and I believe a simple majority under our code of ordinances is required to move the question. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
McMahon. Johnson.
Yes.
Trombetta.
Yes.
Caladrino.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Visconti.
Yes.
Cheney.
Yes.
Esposito.
Yes.
Sadi.
Yes.
Cavo.
Yes.
Vitello. Diggs. Teicholz. Arcanti. Curran. Knapp. Levy. Riley. Seabury. Stanley.
Okay, there being 20 votes to move the question.
Everybody wanted to talk
sorry.
until someone said shut up.
It's been a busy day. Okay, at this time, all those in favor of the motion was made to adopt the report and to engage in a license at 84 Hospital Avenue. That's the motion that's on the table. Mr. Sadi?
Request a roll call vote, Your Honor, and just to clarify that a no vote can mean you're against the...
No vote being that you're opposed to the license. A yes vote meaning that you are supporting the license, and there is a 2/3 requirement to override the Planning Commission's recommendation, just so everybody's aware. Okay, so with that, I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
McMahon.
No.
Johnson.
No.
Trombetta.
No.
Caladrino.
No.
Perkins.
No.
Visconti.
No.
Shenice.
No.
Esposito.
No.
No. No.
That was a no.
Sadi.
No.
Cavo.
No.
Rotello.
No.
Diggs. Teicholz.
No.
Arcanti.
No.
Curran.
No.
Knapp.
Yes.
Levy.
No.
Riley.
No.
Seabury.
Yes.
Stanley.
No.
Okay, 2.
Okay, there'll be 18 noes and 2.
18 noes, 2 yeses, 1
Two yeses and 1 absent. Yep. Okay, Madam Clerk, we're going to move on to
People think that was easy.
item 32, please.
Ad hoc report, duck pin bowling lane lease.
Ad hoc report, Mrs. Stanley? It's your report? What a good report.
You gotta read it?
Ready? Honorable Mark D. Boughton, Mayor, council members. Councilwoman Stanley called the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. In attendance were committee members, Councilman Arcani and Sadi, Laszlo Pinter, Deputy Corporation Counsel, ex officio members, Councilman Nagershev, Seabury, Trombetta, and Cavo were also present. Also in attendance were Gerald Tricola, current tenant, Ken Nelson, the proposed tenant, and Heather Nelson, attorneys Aaron Bowman and Adam Cohen, representing Mr. Tricola. Councilman Johnson joined the meeting at 6:06 p.m., Councilwoman McMahon at 6:15 p.m., Councilman Levy and Chinisi at 6:25 p.m., and members of the public were also in attendance. Councilwoman Stanley stated the call of the meeting was to consider the duck pin bowling lanes lease. The letter of request for the ad hoc committee was read. Mr. Tricola, the current tenant, would like to enter into agreement with Mr. Nelson to purchase the business. Attorney Cohen, representing Mr. Tricola, stated that his client would like to grant Mr. Nelson the right to run the business with the option to buy in 3 years. Mr. Tricola would have the right to end the agreement, and in case of default on the rent, Mr. Nelson would be liable. Mr. Tricola would remain on a consulting basis and would earn a salary for such until the assignment of novation. Permission is requested to delegate the rent payment to Mr. Nelson. Discussion followed regarding the responsibility of payment of rent should there be default, background check, credit check, and insurance coverage. The committee members expressed their concerns for the city's interests as owner of the building. Inquiries were made regarding the bid process for leases. Attorney Pinter advised that the lease was signed in 2006 for 5 years with an option to renew for an additional 5 years. There is no precedent for this type of assignment of a lease, and he would like to review the option agreement. Councilman Sadi moved to recommend to the council as a whole approval of the request subject to the following 3 conditions. Language in all relevant documentation to ensure that during the option period that Mr. Tricola is ultimately liable for any defaults under the existing lease, that a credit check be performed on Mr. Nelson, and that a background check be performed. The item should be made available and presented prior to the next council meeting in their entirety, subject to any privacy concerns. Seconded by Councilman Arcanti. Motion passed unanimously. Unanimous vote. Councilman Arcani moved to adjourn at 6:30 p.m. Seconded by Councilman Sadi. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Respectfully submitted, Councilwoman Stanley, Chairwoman Tom Sadi, and Bob Arcani.
Thank you, Councilman. It was a pleasure. Mr. Cavo?
Thank you, Your Honor. In my last checking today with the Corporation Counsel's office, the 3 items that were mentioned in Mr. Sadi's motion during the committee meeting have not been able to be met as of today's date. And seeing that that has not been able to be accomplished, I'd like to make a motion at this time that we table this item.
The motion's been made and seconded to table the item. Any discussion under the tabling? I think I just want to with the council's indulgence, I just want to clarify those 3 items or conditions that have not been met. Just for the record, that would be language and documentation to ensure that during the option period that Mr. Tricola is ultimately liable for defaults, credit check be performed on Mr. Nelson, and that a background check be performed. Those are the 3 conditions that have not been completed. Okay. With that, Mr. Seabury?
Just out of curiosity, Your Honor, was there just one that was not met at this point, or were there multiple ones?
From my understanding from Corporation Counsel, none of them were met. Les, elaborate.
Councilman Seabury, the item number 1, the language in the option agreement. The option agreement is in our office. It was just received a few days ago. I'm going through it now. There is some language in there that has some compliance with the request that Councilman Sadi made, but it's not exactly on point with the request, so I've got to review that and talk to council. The other 2 items are on their way to personnel, the background check, credit check. We have authorizations from them, but that's in process.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion about the motion to table? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All's in favor of tabling this, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, item 33, please.
Ad hoc report, Charles I. Property acquisition.
Mr. Knapp, please. You could wait a reading, but...
Comfortable. Chairman Jack Knapp called the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2008 in the caucus room, 3rd floor, Danbury City Hall, 155 Deer Hill Avenue. Present was committee members Jane Diggs and Paul Rotella. Ex officio members Benjamin Chinese, Warren Levy, Greg Seabury, and Shay Nagerseth, who entered during the meeting. Also present were Honorable Mark D. Boughton, Mayor, Robert J. Yemen, Corporation Counsel, Wes L. Pinter, Deputy Corporation Counsel, Steve Greenberg, Charles I. Authority, David St. Hilaire, Finance Director, and members of the public. Chairman Knapp introduced everyone present at the meeting. Chairman Knapp explained the purpose of the evening's meeting was to review and consider approving the proposed Charles I. property acquisition. Chairman Knapp noted that the Planning Commission gave the request before the committee a positive recommendation at their meeting of May 21st, 2008, subject to approval of all documents by Corporation Counsel, including the recording of the conservation restriction. Chairman Knapp asked Mayor Boughton to provide everyone with some background regarding the request before the committee. Mayor Boughton explained that when Charles I. Authority was reestablished last year, there was a lot of discussion regarding what needed to be addressed that was not addressed by the previous entity. One of the outstanding items is a parcel of land in the center of the facility that was purchased purchased by the previous entity years ago to add to the inventory of property. The facility is owned by the state, not Westcon, as has been the misperception of people. The mortgage payments fell behind because of the previous entity's poor financial standing. The principal, interest, and late fees currently are in excess of $160,000. The authority currently uses the parcel for food and vendors. Mayor Boughton has had an ongoing discussion with the Newtown Savings Bank officials. They have graciously agreed to waive the interest and the late fees and deduct approximately $30,000 from what is owed in exchange for the prompt payment of $131,000. The ordinance for the authority does not allow for the purchase of the parcel. They are not allowed to hold real property. The city would need to purchase the parcel. Mr. Yaman added that the amount being waived is approximately $30,000 in principal and $25,000 in interest and penalties as of March 23rd, 2008. Mayor Boughton explained that a conservation easement would be placed on the parcel to be used as open space. A payout plan would be established with the authority once they are on their feet. Ultimately, the city would own the property. Mayor Boughton felt the city would benefit in that it is a buildable lot. Should the state ever wish to sell the Ives Center property, the city would have leverage to save the center. Mr. Greenberg explained that the previous entity had a parcel appraised 2.5 years ago for $190,000, which he did not consider was the fair market value. The previous entity attempted to sell the parcel to pay their debt, but there were conflicts with the neighbors. And once a new authority was established, the parcel was taken off the market. The parcel is in an area where the vendor set up, and it is set back, which controls the noise level for the neighbors. Mayor Boughton explained that the plan is to first gain control of the property before it is sold, and then discuss plans to recoup the money expended by the city. Mr. St. Hilaire explained that there are different options for the authority and the city with regard to the financial arrangements to assist the authority and not overburden them financially. Mayor Boughton pointed out that the city's bond rating has been upgraded, which has not occurred for 15 years. Chairman Knapp asked whether the $131,000 would be bonded, and Mr. St. Hilaire said yes. Councilman Rottello asked if the request was for one parcel or two. Mr. Yemen explained that there are two parcels of land, but that they would be sold as one, and together the land is buildable. Councilman Rottello asked what the acreage was. Mr. Greenberg said the center's property total over 40 acres. Mr. Yemen said the parcel in question totals approximately 1.8 acres. Mr. Greenberg pointed out that the initial funding for the new authority approved by the Common Council was to purchase the assets of the previous entity. The new authority operated with the personal donations, including his own, of approximately $10,000 to pay salaries. This year, the goal was to reduce costs. Over 50% has been accomplished to date. They have eliminated the liability of the booking with promoters, which instantly makes a profit. The promoters are charged to lease the facility. A portion of the funds from the tickets sold goes to the authority. Revenue from food and liquor sold goes to the authority. At the end of each night of an event, a reconciliation is done of the fees incurred for such things as EMTs, security, insurance, etc., and turned over to the promoter. As the 501c is developed, the authority will be able to engage in a grant writing and fundraising, raise their revenue, and pay the city back. Mr. Greenberg pointed out that the previous entity refinanced the property. Union Savings held a third lien on the property. Mr. Greenberg was able to negotiate with them to be the title sponsor and eliminated $70,000 lien on the property. Mayor Boughton explained that by moving to the promoter model, the city eliminated their exposure. In the past, the weather played a main role in whether or not an event was successful. There were events that were sold out but still ended up in the negative by thousands of dollars. Mr. Greenberg sought the help of Live Nation to assist in educating the authority how to run the park more efficiently. Mr. Yaman pointed out that in paying the $131,000, the city would not only acquire the parcels of land, but also a bill of sale for quite a bit of personal property. The value is unknown at present. He estimated the value to be in excess of $20,000. Councilman Seabury acquired what the promoters were being charged as a fee to lease the property. Mr. Greenberg explained $2,500 is the deposit amount, and the fees for an event vary, but can be up to $25,000. RKE has managed the sound system and lighting system as they own the equipment. They have been with the center for 15 years and have written off approximately $50,000. They have been paid They have been paid labor expenses, but not for the equipment. Councilman Cheney asked if the timing of the purchasing the property was critical. Mayor Bowden pointed out that the bank representative that has been handling this matter has been very patient. The gentleman is retiring and would like to ensure this item is taken care of before he leaves his position. Mr. St. Hilaire pointed out that the bank's generosity in the thousands of dollars being waived and asked that the city not take advantage of the kindness that has been extended to the city. Mr. Greenberg pointed out that the authority has done as much as they can to give the bank as much exposure as possible for their in-kind generosity. A motion was made by Councilwoman Diggs and seconded by Councilwoman Rotella that the committee recommends to the Common Council that they approve the request of the city of Danbury purchasing 2 parcels of land owned by the Charles Ives and authorize the authority to use and maintain them. There were concerns raised with regard to the conservation easement. Mayor Bowden referred to the conservation easement being included and pointed out that any changes could be made at a later date. Mr. Yeaman pointed out that the conservation easement will be an unusual one in order to preserve the value of the property on the open market. The motion was withdrawn by the mover and the seconder. Motion was made by Councilwoman Diggs and seconded by Councilman Rotella that the committee recommends to the Common Council that they approve the request of the City of Danbury purchasing 2 parcels of land owned by the Charles Ives Center and authorize the authority to use and maintain them. A restriction easement is to be included, which is to be dictated and negotiated by Corporation Council. The motion carried unanimously. Motion to adjourn was made by Councilman Rotella and seconded by Councilwoman Diggs. The motion carried unanimously at 7:08 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Jack Knapp, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Knapp. Appreciate that. What's your pleasure, Council? Councilman Arcanti.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, received the communication that adopted findings of the ad hoc committee and approved the property acquisition.
This was made and seconded by Mr. Trombetta. Discussion under this item. Mr. Shinisi.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess to Corporation Council and also will be to the Finance Director as well. So the motion that's on the floor this evening is basically, it's really, the way I understand it, will be a stepped approach. So the motion that was made is just to purchase the land. That's the motion on the floor as it stands right now. Not actually who's going to use it, but just that the city go out and purchase this property.
Well, the motion on the table is to purchase the property, and the deed will be recorded for the city of Danbury. Much like Richter Park's property is not owned by the Richter Park Authority, it's owned by the city of Danbury.
Correct.
It's used by Richter Park. Although Richter Park does not have a lease agreement in place to use the property the way they use it, it's known to be used as a golf course.
That's what I basically...
That's not correct. The intention is for the property to be used immediately, well, to continue to be used by Ag Center. So it's not a two-step.
So should that be made as part of the motion then?
Wait, Mr. Yaman. I think during the discussion of the ad hoc, which Mr. Shinisi was there was discussion about acquiring the property and at some point later on developing an agreement in terms of paying back the dollars that we used with the authority once the authority got on its feet. There might be some applied thought about that where I guess what Mr. Yaman is saying, Mr. Shinisi, is that the property can be used by the ICE authority right now, but we do expect another step coming back in with an agreement related to payback. I think that was the issue, so there might be a little bit of confusion there.
So that's what I just want to get on the record, that the motion here would be to purchase the property and to allow the Charles Ives Authority to use the property. I guess so it's on the record.
We come in probably early spring with some kind of agreement.
So I'm going to make an amendment to that motion when I'm done with my questions to exactly what the mayor says to at some point to have a lease drawn up. So at least it's on the record that we'll do that at some later point in time. The other question I have again is the bonding. I guess it's going to be bonded. Is that the corporation Director of Finance? Is that how it's going to get purchased?
Yes, the intention is to bond the $131,000 for the purchase of the land.
And would that require another approval from this council?
It would be taken out of the open space bond money that's already been approved.
Right.
Okay. So again, to follow up, because I was at the ad hoc and there was some discussion can the open space bond be used to purchase this? Because this won't be used for open space anymore. There will be conservation easements and activity on the property itself. I guess just to clarify.
Mr. Chinisi, that's correct. It's clear from the approval of the open space bond that the council had authorized before that when the city went ahead to purchase open space property like this, this would return to the council together with the trappings, if you will, of the transaction, which is explained to you now, and you would approve that or otherwise. But yes, this belongs in the open space classifications already approved.
I think, if I can interject, not trying to rephrase Mr. Shinisi's question, but I think what he's asking is, does this meet the requirements of the bond? Because there will be some passive recreation going on there, but I guess the answer to that is that in all of our acquisitions, there's passive recreation going on of all of our properties, hiking trails, biking, things of that nature. So.
Figures a lawyer answers a different question all the time, but yeah, the answer is yes, correct. That's correct.
Again, don't go. Again, at some point, if it ever gets to be a license agreement or a lease, will that violate that bond?
No. No, you're buying it under that, pursuant to that bond as open space now. That's what you're approving. You're authorizing the activity that's referenced in the report the committee had. If there's some change to it, then you'll be able to reconsider that in the future if there's some change that doesn't comply, but that's really not before you right now.
Mr. Cavo.
The Chair to Corporation Counsel, Mr. Pinter. Mr. Pinter, just for clarification purposes, if we were not to buy this property, would Newtown Savings Bank eventually foreclose on it?
I'll speak to that.
Mr. Yammon.
Back in February, at the direction of the mayor and the urging of Ives, I negotiated, in effect, a short sale with John Martocci, who is the president of Newtown Savings Bank, who's being a tremendously good citizen in this matter. Actually, we looked at the numbers after the ad hoc committee. They're forgiving closer to $50,000, which is several times what's typically forgiven percentage-wise in a short sale. A short sale, by the way, if you will, is when you are selling property for less than is owed on the loans. There's two loans. One is 136,804.47. One is 20,024.43, and I'm sorry, 23,850.59, and with interest and penalties, if we get the property for 131, which is what they agreed to on March 21st, we'll be saving approximately $50,000, just short of $50,000. So they're giving us a tremendous price on this property, and if you look at the alternatives, this is an integral part of the Ives. This is where some of the concessions are located. If this property goes into foreclosure, which it will do in the next few weeks if we do not purchase this property at this fire sale, and in addition, if we kind of turn away this offer from John Martocci and Newtown Savings Bank, which would be unfortunate, it could sink, in my opinion, and in Mr. Greenberg's opinion, the operations of the Ives Center. So I think we should keep that in mind. But we're saving about $50,000. By the way, just to be accurate, it's 1.42 acres. It's not 1.8. I don't know where that came from. But this is also technically a building lot if you keep the two parcels together, which we would do, and our intention would also be that if for any reason the Ives ceased to exist or even moved, which is pretty unlikely, but if any of that ever happened, we would be able to sell that property on the open market and probably make a significant profit, at least. That's the thinking. So
it would require to remove the conservation easement.
Yes, actually, we're going to draft the conservation easement to include an extinguishment clause, which is unusual, but it would be extinguished, sort of like a reverter clause, upon the cessation of the Ives Center. So,
Thank you.
Further discussion, Mr. Arcani to Mr. Curran.
Thank you through the chair to Corporation Council. If we purchase this through our open space bond, we'd still be able to sell this property in the future? Is that possible? And we're purchasing it with the bond money for our open space.
What we could do then, Mr. Arcani, would be to pay off the note, say, out of fund balance to satisfy the legal requirements of the bond, and then flip the property for sale. If that would be an option, and it would come to the council for discussion.
Thank you.
we couldn't immediately, but we could get to the point in the way that the mayor just alluded, so.
Mr. Curran.
This or Mr. Yeaman, we've been involved now with the ICE Authority for what? When did we vote to take it over?
We started about 18 months ago.
Is there anything else hidden in the woodpile? I mean, are we going to come back in 3 months and say there's another piece of land on the other side that if we don't buy, that we're going to have to that we're going to lose everything? I mean, you know, I feel for the people that spoke before in the public section. Is we did put money out a while back, and now we're going to get, and I got to vote for this. I mean, it would be, well, I'm not going to say we'll be idiots, but I mean, we have to go with this deal the Newtown Savings Bank has given us. But are we going to be back here again in 3 months that we found out that there's a Loch Ness monster in the pond, and if we don't come up with $250,000, we're going to be in trouble. Is there anything you know about now?
There's absolutely no other property associated.
Let me just answer that too. I think Mr. Curran has asked a sort of a global question in the sense that are there other issues besides property or whatever that are out there? And I would tell you that this is the only property that's affiliated with the piece. And this is probably one of the last remaining issues from the old entity. And I was clear with the council 2 years ago that we would, at some point, would reach this point where we'd have to wrestle with this. But I think I think sometimes we're missing the point about this facility. And based on our quick down and dirty run of the numbers, not counting the Family Fair Day or the Irish Festival or the ethnic festivals that are going to take place in the month of August, we service about 40,000 residents from Danbury and the greater Danbury area over summer. And we put, this is an investment, but it's real property, but also when we look at operational money, we put $80,000 out of this year's budget into it. I think there's a pretty good impact to the quality of life of the community by making that investment. I think that's a good return. When you look at a Terry Wild Park, where we routinely put in $350,000 to $400,000 a year, and we never get any money back. We don't, really have any revenue generation except what they can generate and they keep it. So I guess what I'm saying is I think you have to look at it that way. But to answer your question, I'm not going to say there's never, ever going to ever be anything out there. I'm going to say this is really the last big remaining issue out there in terms of getting the authority going. I'm going to say Steve Greenberg threw the gauntlet down tonight and said we're going to make money. I don't even know if we have to make money. We just have to break even. And we had a very successful year. We had 400 and some odd people for our Midsummer Night's Dream to see Shakespeare in Danbury, Connecticut. And I think that's a tremendous testament to the quality of the programming that's coming together. But I think this will be the last big issue. Will there be other operational things, or issues that pop up? There might be, but I feel confident that this is the last of the big ones, I guess. So I hope that answers your question. Mr. Levy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think I'm not labored down with all of the past history of the Ives. I look at it as a cultural venue that local people and the area people come and enjoy. We have, as you very well pointed out, we have multiple festivals that take place there. And compared to some of the other investments that we've made that come and go.
No disrespect to them.
I'm not making reference to any particular one or two, but this is one that's grounded here in Danbury, and I certainly think that $131,000 is a relatively small amount to pay for the numbers of people that attend these events. And I have a lot of faith in the chairman, he's indicated at the subcommittee meeting or the ad hoc committee that he has faith in it. He put $10,000 of his own money into it, which someone that puts money into it actually has a vested interest in doing something good for the community, and I'll support it, and I hope it works out well.
Mr. Levy, any other discussion? Mr. Rotello.
Thanks, Your Honor. I just echo Councilman Curran's concerns. This is something that we have to vote for. I mean, the last thing that we can have at the Ives Center is someone buying the land from the bank and building a house there. It would be a disaster. But, you know, I don't think anybody here wants to vote for something because a gun is being held to their head. And that's probably not the best reason to vote for this. With all due respect to Steve Greenberg and Don Whedon, who have managed to pull Ives back from the brink and are doing a great job, let's just for a second put Ives aside and just look at this as a deal to buy some land from the city for the people. It doesn't have to be at the Ives Center. It could be on the south side or the east side or the north side near New Fairfield, near a reservoir, near a greenway. We've got an opportunity to buy an acre or so of land for a good price, and we've got an opportunity to put it into the open space inventory for a period of time that could be a lifetime or two or more. The question I think that we've got to ask ourselves tonight is, for the future, again, leaving aside Ives. Ives is not going to own this land. They're not going to control it. It's not going to be theirs. It's going to be yours. It's going to be the people's property. Is it a good deal for the taxpayers of Danbury, regardless of what is going to happen in the future with Ives and Westcott? You know, they're talking about building a $100 million arts center. It's not just talk. The governor has approved $12 million of preliminary funding. That will be right next door to Ives, and it is going to be an integral part of Ives, because remember that Westcott is a full partner in Ives now. Ives Performance Arts Center outside and the new Performing Arts Center building, a $100 million, 150,000 square foot building, will be complementing each other. My guess is down the road, Ives is going to be a very big deal, perhaps as big as Tanglewood, perhaps even bigger. But again, putting that aside, forget about that. Ives could close down tomorrow. We're still going to own that property, and we're going to get it for a good deal. At best case, Ives is actually going to fund the property. They're going to pay for it, and we're going to get it for free. Even after they've paid us for it, we're still going to own it. It'll still be ours to do with what we want down the road. So I think I have to ask myself, nobody up here is a bigger fan of Ives, but I've got to ask myself, is the deal itself good for Danbury? And I've looked at this for the last couple of weeks, and I have to say yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rotello. Further discussion. Mr. Calendino, Mr. Perkins.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the question.
Okay, motion's made to move the question. Is there a second? Seconded by Mrs. McMahon. And Mrs. Stanley. She has a third in there. We'll do a roll call vote. And I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll. A yes vote means we'll move the question and vote on the underlying motion. A no vote means you want to discuss the issue more.
McMahon? Yes. Johnson?
Yes.
Trombetta?
Yes.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Perkins?
No.
Visconti?
No.
Cheney?
No.
Esposito?
No.
Sadi?
No.
Cavo?
Yes.
Botello?
No.
Diggs?
Yes.
Teichholz?
Yes.
Arconti?
Yes.
Curran?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Levy?
No.
Riley?
That's it.
Seabury?
I'm voting no on this.
Stanley?
Yes.
Voting no.
14 yeses, 7 no. Motion to move the question passes. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk to, excuse me, we have one absent, so 13 yeses, 7 noes. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll on the underlying motion to purchase a property. Madam Clerk?
McMahon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Trombetta?
Yes.
Pellegrino?
Yes.
Perkins?
No.
Visconti?
Resounding no.
Cheney?
Spit it out.
Esposito?
Yes.
Sadi.
No.
Cavo.
Yes.
Botello.
Yes.
And the Gates is...
Diggs.
He voted yes.
Teichel. Arconti.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.
Seabury.
Yes.
Stanley.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
There being 17 yes and 3 noes, the two-thirds requirement being met, motion passes.
I was going to suggest we get the money from elsewhere.
Madam Clerk, item 34, please.
Favor of it, just get the money from elsewhere, not from open space. No. That's
Ad hoc report, property tax abatement.
I think it's a great...
It's your pleasure, Counsel. Counsel McMahon?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to a public hearing.
Seeing no objection, it is so ordered. Mr. President, department reports, please.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the reading of the departmental reports as all members have copies and copies are on file in the city clerk's office.
Motion is made and seconded by Councilman Trombetta. Let's try that. Was Johnson? Councilman Johnson made the second. Discussion on the department reports. Mr. Cavo and then Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, under department reports, I'd like to make 2 comments. One would be to Wayne Shepard for the fabulous job that he did with the Nutmeg Games and all the efforts that he put forward into that, and it was appreciated by both the games and by the city, and thank you to that. And the other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to recognize you and Mr. St. Hilaire for the fiscal responsibility that you've shown and the direction you've taken us as a council as well in getting our bond rating improved from AA to AA+, which is something that hasn't happened in how many years?
Many years.
Many years, and just backs up the responsibility of the management of the city's financial funds, and appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to dovetail on that for the council information, we just got notice from Fitch, another one of our bond rating agencies, that we are undergoing review, and we hope to have some good news about finally reaching the apex of AAA if things go well. So, all good stuff. With that, continue on department reports. Mr. Perkins has been waiting patiently.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can I mention something about the announcements from the very beginning? I know it's the department report, but...
Is it about your birthday?
No.
With the indulgence of the council, you can, yes.
I think we forgot to acknowledge Jane and Leroy. Next thing I knew, we were talking about McMahon. So can we just give a round of applause for that anniversary?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Right?
Okay. Just want to make sure we did recognize Jane for living with Leroy if he's watching this right now, so. Sorry, Leroy.
Your
You're on
Honor,
TV.
but I do have some questions about the reports. Can I go into that now? Thank you. Through you to Mr. Shanahan and possibly Mr. Idarola. Concerning the construction of the new police department, it's been brought to my attention that there's a boom on the sidewalk, kind of blocking pedestrian traffic. I was wondering if there's some way we can put maybe a Jersey barrier to allow folks to walk in that little strip of land safer. I seen a lady almost get hit the other day.
What did you say was blocking the sidewalk?
There's a boom, a lift to get material from the lower level up to the higher levels.
Yeah.
It's taking up the sidewalk. People have to walk on, probably 18, 20 inches
We'll take a
of...
look at it tomorrow morning. And, yep, see if it's a mobile unit, and we'll take care of it. Pedestrian traffic is just as much as important as vehicle traffic.
But we can get that sidewalk open.
We'll take a look at it tomorrow morning. Yep.
Follow-up, please. Thank you. This, I believe, has to do with the engineering department, traffic control, and probably the police department also. The Route 7 portion heading south, got a lot of complaints. Well, not a lot, but I got several over the past couple of weeks. Mentioned a lot of speeding cars, trucks.
Deputy Chief Shanahan?
Motorcycles and wheelies and stuff. I was wondering if we get a little bit more presence out there. And also, they mentioned that if the lights were synchronized, we probably can slow traffic down a little bit so the trucks won't have to downshift and create such a noise disturbance.
Synchronization of lights, I would defer to Mr. Corey, but certainly we did receive a complaint on the 311 Q alert system as well regarding speed enforcement out there, and that is something we are working on out there,
Thank you.
south. Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you. One more follow-up, please.
Oh, Mr. Perkins, you got 3 things tonight, but go ahead.
This is just a follow-up on the Board of Ed, that bonding. Can anyone give us an update or status of maybe Mr. St. Hilaire?
I've been in contact with Elio, and he's asked me, where's the money? So that's about all I know about it. We're going to be talking about it probably next week, about the status of their computer purchase. We just received the money, I think it was, what, Friday?
Last week, right?
Yeah, Friday, and so we just haven't connected on the distribution of that money.
Okay.
All right.
So typically it takes about 30 days to get the...
Well, they would undoubtedly, they probably have already submitted the order in anticipation of the funds coming in, because we've already had our schedule placed about 6 weeks ago as far as our closing of the bonds and all that. So they knew when we were going to get our money in. I told them 6 weeks ago.
I'm not sure if the order went in, though.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But I would have expected them to place their order way before now, because it takes, as you said, about 4 weeks to get ship computers in probably. And they've, school opens what, in a few weeks, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got a feeling they're not going to have those new computers. But thank you for your response. I'm all done.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. I also might suggest you contact the school board and Dr. Pasquarello and Mr. Longo, who might have more information on that. Mr. Cianisi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just want to mention that went to a block party a couple of weeks ago from Beaver Street, and they did a wonderful job in that block party. But we also recognized one of our own Public Works Director, Antonio, for the fine work he did, and his staff on the improvements to that pocket park at Beaver Street. I just want to congratulate you as well for the fine work you've done.
Mr. Cianisi? Yeah. Mr. Trombetta?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to thank Chief Shanahan for one of my friends, neighbors, and constituents was involved in a head-on collision on Payden Road with some pretty severe injuries. And there was an officer, Rio, that I was told actually held her hand during the whole process, and I just would like recommendation for his services to this particular person. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trombetta. Mr. Sadi?
Thank you, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm not going to thank anybody right now. I'd like to, through the chair, have a couple of comments and questions for the Deputy Chief, Mr. Shanahan. And I apologize. I was hoping the Chief would be here because this is a follow-up to some questions I asked him last month. I'm looking at the calls for service, traffic accidents, and traffic enforcement in the report, and specifically the year-to-date number from last year was 3,282 enforcement actions under traffic enforcement. Year-to-date this year is 1,645. That was a similar number last month, minus the monthly numbers. And I put it to the Chief, what is the basis for this reduction? Is there an explanation for it? He seemed somewhat frustrated and said to me, it's a staffing issue. I don't have enough guys, or guys and gals. And I talked to some people outside the council and thought about it based on their comments, and I'm trying to reconcile with the fact that no matter how many officers you have, the same number are out on patrol. There's a designated number for the most part during shifts, unless there's special enforcement going on. So I'm trying to understand this number and how we either can bring it up, and that sort of segues off what Councilman Perkins and other council members have raised for many months regarding traffic enforcement. Can you help to explain that to me, please, through the chair?
I'll certainly try, Councilman. Last year was certainly a very successful year, traffic enforcement. We haven't seen numbers like that in many, many years. The numbers this year, while paling in comparison to last year, they are about 7.5% above 2006 numbers. And the Chief is absolutely correct. It is a staffing issue if I can explain it in this manner. We're authorized 152 officers. We currently have 148.
We have 3 on injury leave. We have 7 on light duty. We have 2 in training. We're effectively policing the city with 136 officers. For going back to last year, March, April, May, June, we were fully staffed, which had not happened in a while. The chief issued a special order called Proactive Police Details, which instructed shift commanders on how to assign officers that were over and above contract minimums. And there were times last year where we were putting out 18, 19 officers per shift on a 4 to 12 shift, which we hadn't seen in quite a while. We were able to dedicate 4 or 5 officers per shift strictly to traffic enforcement. Unfortunately, this year, we're not able to do that. Last year also, as a result of an incident downtown, we instituted Thursday night patrols, which was a sergeant and 6 or 7 additional officers who were dedicated to crime suppression and traffic enforcement in the downtown area from 7 at night to 3 in the morning. I think last year, May, June, maybe, might have been May, possibly June, we issued 900 tickets in a month, largely as a result of that effort. That was a concentrated enforcement effort, which we carried on through the summer. Moving forward, again, we were talking about fiscal responsibility. Chief and I were called into Mr. Hilaire's office towards the end of this year. Certainly, we have to be mindful of our budget. We were using overtime to accomplish a lot of that when we had it available. This year, we're certainly being careful with our overtime dollars, mindful of the budget. So there are a number of factors there. Also, our DUI grant last year was rather expansive. This year, it's been curtailed by the state. The time allowed is compressed. We do not have the number of DUI sobriety checkpoints allocated to us that we did last year. So there are a number of factors, Councilman, and I think the officers are doing a great job with what they have to work with, the numbers we have. We're hopeful to get a few more healthy officers back, and certainly working with personnel to increase the staffing.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Just a comment. That explains it for me. That lays it out, and I think it also helps other council people, I don't want to speak for them, but to understand this going forward from a budgetary standpoint, from an overtime standpoint regarding grants. It paints the whole picture as opposed to just that, a singular statement regarding staff. So I thank you. That's a very comprehensive explanation, and it straightens it out for me.
Thank you. Mr. St. Hilaire wanted to add something in there, Mr. Sadi.
We talked a lot tonight.
One thing I'm going to ask the Deputy Chief to expand on is the reporting issue that we have. And I have met with the Chief and the Deputy Chief in regards to trying to help them with reporting on their incidents. And it's an HTE issue, and I'm not going to get into all the technical, mumbo jumbo, but basically we're trying to help them with better reporting of the incidents.